Hi there, Belma from Work Bigger here, helping you do work you love that makes a difference in the world without burning out. Today, I want to talk about a common mistake that we make in business, in our careers, and in life overall. This mistake is so pervasive that I feel it's really important to talk about so that you can maybe think and ask yourself, is this something that I do as well? Stick around until the end because I share a really powerful coaching exercise that's going to make a big difference with how you approach your goals and your career in general. Now, when I was in business school, I learned several different frameworks to support with running and building a business. And these were frameworks on strategy, marketing, operations, and many of these frameworks instilled the idea that to be a successful entrepreneur, you either had to be first or second to market, or you had to take the biggest piece of the pie. And I remember when my friends and I we partnered together and we came up with this business idea on building a coaching company to support women. And my immediate focus went to, let's scope out the competition. Who is doing what already and what can we do differently? And I'm going to repeat that. What can we do differently? And right away with that question, that set us up for failure because our anchor in creating value for the customer was on being different from the competition versus creating value for the customer, right? So I want you to just take a quick minute and think to yourself, do you hear the difference, right? Being different from the competition versus creating value for the customer. A lot has changed since then. And through now my years of experience building a business, I know that this is not the best approach to growth, but regardless, no matter how many times we hear, right, what you offer is unique, right? And you hear that a lot among founders. I still see this fear of competition, and I still see this thing that people are doing, right, where we're comparing ourselves to other people. And I believe that that's a big barrier that exists, not only among founders and in entrepreneurship, but also in organizations, right? And in life, regardless of what your job is. We have this habit of comparing ourselves to others in different areas of our lives as well. So fear of competition, this fear that there is someone else out there who is better than you, right? It's a mindset that's rooted in fear. And whatever your career path is, it's going to show up for you in some way, right? It shows up for all of us. So maybe for you, it's going to show up if you're going for that promotion, right? Or maybe when you're asking for a raise, the thought may come up, well, there's only a limited budget and only a small group of people will receive a significant raise, right? Or maybe when you're launching a business and you're doing something risky that's out of your comfort zone, the thought may come up that there's, well, yeah, other people are already doing this already, so why do it? Right? And ultimately, what happens is that rather than focusing on your own value, you're going to be tempted to look outside of yourself and measure yourself against other people and what they're doing because you're going to want to stand out, right? So what I want to talk about today is how this mindset, this fear of competition, this fear that someone else, out there is already doing it, or they may be better than you, right? Or they may beat you to your goal. I want to talk about one, how this can hold you back and actually slow you down. And then two, I want to talk about what you can do instead. And this is going to be a big mindset shift that I'm going to have you make here. So first, why is this harmful, right? How is this slowing you down? Well, like I already said, this is rooted in fear, and anything that's rooted in fear is usually not in your greatest service, right? When you're operating from a place of fear, you're trying to survive. And what that does is it impacts your creativity and all of the ways that you can add value, right? So when you're growing your career growth is dependent on how you're adding value for your organization, or if you're building a business for your customer. And you can only do that. You can only create value if you're working on your creativity, if you're working on your leadership, right? And if you're working on perfecting your craft and also collaborating with other people, right? It does not happen when your focus shifts from yourself to the outside. Okay, so that's a huge difference. Furthermore, this idea of comparing ourselves to others, right? You're telling yourself that your value and what you have to offer isn't good enough, right? That you're only really good enough if you beat out the other person, which what that does is it limits your ability to create, right? Because what if these other people actually have lower standards than you, right? Or what if their success is based on totally different circumstances and you're comparing your situation and it's sort of an apples and oranges type of thing, right? You're measuring yourself against someone or something that's not really accurate for you and where you want to be and what you want to create. And it ultimately will shift your path. So by focusing on the competition, not only are you losing out, but also the customer is losing out because they're not getting all of the value that you can create, right? And your employer is losing out, right? Because your focus is anchored in external resources versus digging deep to enhance what you have to offer. So what do we do instead? Well, I want you to ask yourself this question when this fear of competition comes up for you or when you find yourself doing the comparison thing, right? I want you to ask, if I had already achieved my goal, how would I approach the situation and how would I feel about it? Right? So for example, if you're working toward a big promotion and it's you against 5 other people, right? If you already had this promotion, how would you feel? How would you act? What actions would you take? If you're working on getting your business off the ground and you're starting to see that there's a lot of competitors in the market, right? Ask yourself, if your business was already off the ground, how would you feel? What action would you take? Right? This places you in a different mindset, one where you've already won, right? Think about that. You're in this mindset of where you've already won. Okay, and ultimately you're going to make completely different decisions that serve you and that come from a place of confidence versus a place of fear. Now, let's talk about you. I want to know, where does fear of competition show up for you? How are you comparing yourself to other people, right? And how do you see that it could potentially hold you back in being successful? And I want you to apply this question: if I already achieved my goal, how would I approach the situation? And I want to know what comes up for you. All right, share with me in the comments and I can coach you through it. Ask a question if you have a question that comes up as I'm talking through this video. And I'm really curious to hear what shows up for you. I'd love to give you some coaching on this. That's it for today, Work Bigger. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. And as always, if you know someone who can benefit from these insights, from this video, from the Work Bigger newsletter, please share it with them. I would love for more people to have access to this content. All right, I'll see you next week. Thanks so much. Bye.